Welcome back to Writing Done Right. Well, today we're going to spend some time talking about how to get writing ideas. So welcome back to the video and the channel. I'm Tom Murosky. I'm an author and a technology consultant, and today we want to spend a little bit of time talking about how you can get ideas for doing your writing. And this is a neat topic because sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you get a little bit of block. Sometimes you just have to figure out how to get things organized in your head. So, of course, I write across a few different topics. So I'm going to talk about 3 general topics today. First, let's go ahead and talk about your fiction topics. So I'm just in the process of finishing up my science fiction novel, Synaptergy. You can get more information on synaptergy.com. And on this book here, this is a modern science fiction, basically set in modern era, taking modern technology and examining the societal and the ethical issues around some of the things that we can do in our modern technology devices. Just because we can do something doesn't necessarily mean we should do something. And that's one of the things that we want to keep in mind as we are considering it. So for me, what I'm doing for my nonfiction books, and I have several different topics and books along the lines, is I'm looking at modern areas of technology and I'm seeing how are the tools being used in a positive way, and how could those tools be used as a negative way? And my ultimate goal there is to help readers understand that just because a new technology has emerged does not necessarily mean we want to jump in and use it unilaterally. We always want to stop and think about the positives and the negatives. So for me, I get ideas for my nonfiction science, or I'm going to keep doing that. I get my ideas for my science fiction books by actually looking at the current trends in the news and understanding a little bit about the latest technologies coming down the pipeline. And so for me, I'm going to start with this, and then I'm going to think about the stories. How are these technologies being used? How are they being built to be used? And what are the positives and the negatives? And I really want to explore from multiple standpoints, because I've always taken the view that even if it's a fiction book, I want to learn something, and I want you to learn something by reading. Not only do I want you to have a fabulous story, not only do I want you to have a great adventure, not only do I want to teach you a little bit, but I also want to give you some ideas that why we might want to be cautious about some of the things in our world. And so that's kind of how I'm getting ideas for my fiction books. Now, the second area I write in, and most of my books are published in, is in the Christian nonfiction area, which mostly are things like Bible studies. Like the Black Book here is part of a Bible study series. We're going to have about 7 of those by the time we're done. I have 2 of them out right now. I have the one on holidays back here, which is about just the history of different holidays. I have the white one on the far end. There is that's an analysis on media entertainment and things like this. Now, the yellow book happened because I read a book that was going through a lot of Christian circles that I did not consider a good book. And it's been, promoted from all sorts of stages. And I read it, and I read it again, and I read it a 3rd time, and I read it a 4th time just to make sure. And I'm like, well, there's some positive endpoints they're trying to reach. The way they handled the book of our faith was so reckless that I thought that the book was horrible. And so I got the idea that I could get mad, I could do a blog post. I said, let's just write a parody. And so I parodied the book, and really only about 3/4 of the book is a parody. The last quarter of the book is a defense for why I believe the original book wasn't particularly good. So that last one's kind of like a blog post type thing. So that's really what my approach was. So my ideas in this area come from a variety of places. What am I currently studying? What types of things are happening in the world? So studying, this is where the Bible studies comes into play. What's happening in the world? That's where the Happy Holidays and the media entertainment book come into play. Or going on in the greater Christian community, that's where the parody comes into play. So I get my ideas from writing in that respect from those areas. Now, the third place I'm working on a book right now is more of a life story or a testimony. You might consider it a memoir, although I personally am not really calling it a memoir. I'm calling it more of a testimony. How did I get to where I am? Why do I believe the faith that I believe? And so from that, of course, I'm getting my ideas from looking in my past journals, my past history, which, by the way, is a fabulous place to get your fiction analyses from. Find some cool adventure in your life for a fiction novel. Find some adventure really happened in your life and figure out how to build an extra world or an extra story around that thing and start working on that. That would be a great way for you to write some fiction, but also a great way for you to write your own story and your own testimony. And so I'm working on that right now, and one of the things I'm doing back and forth is I'm going through and overthrough and re-overthrough several journals because I'm actually having a very hard time figuring out in that book how to get things organized just right because there's too many moving parts. I think I actually figured it out how I'm going to do it today, but I'm going to talk more about that book when we're closer to having the first draft done. But with that being said, I just wanted to leave you with these various tips. So let's just go ahead and summarize these guys again. For my fiction, I'm gathering the information from the news articles, various things. Of course, you might grab some fiction also from your own life past stories, or you might just grab some fiction out of some weird concept that's in your head somewhere. Fiction is the easiest to grab various stories from, but what I'm doing with Synaptergy is I'm really trying to ask real questions as they relate to modern society is what I'm trying to do with that. My nonfiction stuff, now depending if you're a person of faith, that's pretty easy. Look at what's going on in your world of faith. If you're doing nonfiction in the area of like health, nutrition, things like this, then look at what are the current health trends, the current diet trends, the current nutrition trends, and figure out what you would do differently. Defend your case, defend your diet, defend your lifestyle in a book form. Think about the steps, how you isolate things into various steps. There's an excellent formula for some nonfiction stuff as well. Likewise, if you're into wealth and finance or business or things like this, excellent place to go ahead and come up with some nonfiction in that ideas. Just look to your life is the key principle. And of course, for memoir type things, look to your journals, remember your past stories. Of course, some of the earlier stuff, you talk to parents, you talk to other people that maybe older siblings, particularly if you have a sibling that's like 10 years older than you, they might be a great place to gather some information about your early years. That'd be a great place to look as well. So those are my general ideas about where I get ideas to help write. So hopefully those will help you as well. So thanks for coming along on this video. If you do like what you saw here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell and definitely follow along. Most of my videos will have an article on WritingDoneRight.net as well, which might go in a little bit more detail. So go ahead and check out the website there as well. So thanks for coming along, and I hope that we will help you to get your writing done right.